If you're a trader who's struggling with fair value gaps, choosing the correct order block, or just having your psychology get in the way whenever you use an ICT concept, let me explain to you why that is, right? So your basics are probably correct, and that's the reason why you're probably getting confused. Now, if you look at this fair value gap, right, we are below the daily opening price, this being the daily opening price over here. So what you're effectively waiting for is you want to see price come below the daily opening price and you want to see price tap into this area. Now the question becomes, how do you know what's happening in this rejection and how do you know price doesn't want to melt to the downside? Well, that's a good question to ask, right? So first you're looking for a 15-minute fair value gap to trade from. That's our step number 1. Step number 2 is you want the lower time frame to tap into this area. And step number 3, you want to make sure you are buying below the New York midnight opening price. And so what's really going on is that this fair value gap is below the New York midnight opening price. Now, with that being said, let's go over to the ATAS platform and see how you could have taken this particular trade. Now, over here on the ATAS platform, what I want traders to kind of zoom in and understand. Now, what makes this candle super interesting are two basic things. I want traders to understand that there's a lot of red delta at the bottom. Now, this red delta means that there's a lot of aggressive sellers that are trying to drive price lower. We also see a zero over here, we see a zero over here, and we see a zero over here. So we see 3 for zero, 12 for zero, and 4 for zero. We see three zeros, which means the auction has been wiped out three times, right? This is showing us that buyers and sellers have agreed that this is a fair price. Now, from here, if we take a look at the fair value gap we're in, we see a lot of aggressive sellers failing over here before the market breaks to the upside. So, what this tells us is that the fair value gap itself is a strong fair value gap that is being supported by buyers. So, if we go back to the regular candlestick chart, what we need to understand from this region is that we can see a lot of buyers resting over here in this region. And the reason the buyers are here is because the sellers tried to drive price down and they failed, right? We can see the sellers resting over here in this region, right? The sellers over here failed, and this is the reason the market actually moved higher in the first place because the aggressive sellers failed. So if you're not using the ATAS platform or you're not reading order flow in terms of buyers and sellers, seeing where the volume is high, seeing where the volume is low, seeing where the aggressive buyers and sellers are actually trading in the markets, it's very difficult for you to become profitable and therefore kind of control your psychology.